Barton. Oh, where's Lukic? He's nowhere! He's nowhere!
This is crossed in as well. Hobbling around, chance here for the Dons. And Dean Holsworth does it!
1-0 it is. Warren Barton has got it at home. Back for Holdsworth. Holdsworth could be cross. It's gone in! It's gone in! It'll break here for Sanchez. Sorry. You lift me up. Don't you ever stop. I will be ready. Finish here. Oh, it's got a touch, but it did. Cause listen, you follow through. Wrestling to the ground, and Robbie Earl's there to finish. And I follow you. What you gonna do when it all cracks up? What you gonna do with another snap? What you gonna do when the flames go up? Can he finish? He can! John gets the punch to it. Robbie Earl with the lob. Will this be in? It will! Robbie Earl has got on the break. Robbie Earl into the box. He's away to right. Can Earl finish? He can! Robbie Earl has got
as far as Clark is
Little possession, another good ball in. Cottrell, yes. The Dons are ahead. Keepers all over the place. Flowers back in again. Oh, and still a mistake. And Cottrell gets his second of the match.
real opportunity in the game, and there's surely spread eagle now, and it must be a goal from Terry Gibson.
Good delivery, that's danger, and Sanchez, I think,
We're on the right side of a controversial decision 7 days later. Sheffield Wednesday came to Selhurst after Chris Park-Williams took advantage of a piece of Chris Waddle magic to put the Owls ahead in the early stages. The Dons piled on the pressure. And just when it seemed that their chance for an equaliser had gone, referee Roger Milford decided that Laurie Sanchez's 89th minute header was punched off the line by an unidentified Wednesday defender. It was Wednesday's defenders' turn to protest, but to no avail. Vinnie Jones stepped up to blast it into the corner of the net, his first goal back for the Dons, and it gained them an emphatic. The Dons had to return to South London without a point. The rollercoaster season continued at Selhurst Park next time out with another upturn thanks to Oldham Athletics' leaky defence.
Hardly making good runs down this ride. Another good cross. Robbie Earl is there, can't keep it down. And Paul Gerrard has completely missed the ball. And Dean Holsworth has put it wide, but the referee had already blown for an infringement on the Oldham keeper. But that's not the start he'll have liked. Vinnie Jones, I'm sure, will remember the nervous touch earlier on by young Paul Gerrard in the Oldham goal. Turning it towards him. And a chance here must go in. Neil Ardley scores his second of the season. It came about from Vinnie Jones's long throw, hesitation in that Oldham defence, and Neil Ardley took her. Well, Joseph can strike them. McAllister over the ball. Shipped it forwards. And it's bobbling around, comes off Sanchez, it's gone in, and it's been claimed by Dean Holsworth. Holsworth ends his goal-scoring famine. Disarray in the... Over it comes. Flicked on. Missed by the keeper. Can Artley do it again? He has! Well, Neil Artley, 2 goals, almost identical. Both from Vinnie Jones' long throws. 3-0 to Wimbledon. And will Oldham ever learn? Second half underway. Desperate times for the Latics. 3 down. And having to shiver on the pitch for 5 minutes. And immediately a chance for Mark Brennan. Mark Brennan has made it 3-1. Well, obviously, Bond's perhaps lacking just that vital edge. Perhaps feeling the game's already won, and he and Olney almost making them pay. But here comes Robbie Earl. Andy Clark. Andy Clark has made it 4. Andy Clark. Robbie Earl storming up the middle. It might break for Ardley. Ardley's cross coming over. Robbie Earl. Sanchez is there. And a shot there by Holsworth. The goal is given, or is it? Henry out wide to Brennan. Olney. Forward to Minigan. Chance here for Oldham. Minigan must score. It's off the foot of Sagers and out the second attempt. Minigan makes it 5-2.
Even with Christmas still 5 days away, the trip to the City Ground to meet Nottingham Forest had the look of a relegation 6-pointer. It started badly for Wimbledon when Kingsley Back's cross set up Nigel Clough for Forest's opener after only 5 minutes. The Dons had to wait just 7 minutes for their equaliser, courtesy of a blunder by Forest keeper Mark Crossley, who dropped Vinnie Jones' easy cross and let in Andy Clark for the equaliser. The Dons dominated the second half, and Crossley partly redeemed himself with a brilliant late save from Robbie Earl's curling effort. The game finished a point apiece, which did neither side any real favours. There wasn't too much festive goodwill around when the Tenants played away at Selhurst Park against landlords Crystal Palace. Some of the players took the Boxing Day title literally, especially Dons defender Brian McAllister, who got his marching orders for the referee for fouls on Jeff Thomas and Simon Osborne. 2 first-half Palace goals, first by Chris Coleman stabbing home at the near post. And then Jeff Thomas finishing off a goalmouth melee with a resounding volley. Saw the Dons finish second best in a frustrating South London derby. The league table at the end of 1992 saw the Dons struggling at the wrong end of the table with a lot of work still to do. 2 days later, the holiday programme continued with the visit of Chelsea, and more disappointment for Joe Kinnear's men. The visitors' title aspirations kept alive by the display of Kevin Hitchcock, who saved brilliantly from John Fashanu on 2 occasions from point-blank range. John Scales blazed over, and the Dons finished 1992 second from bottom in the table. This time lucky against Everton as the Dons progressed in the Cup with a superb win at Goodison Park. John Fashanu's surging run onto Steve Cotterill's cross ended in a miscued shot which crept home. Later on, Robbie Earl produced a stunning finish, running into the penalty area, breaking through several challenges before sliding past Neville Southall. Later on in the game, Everton got back into it, Peter Beardsley pulling back the cross, and it was slotted home by Dave Watson, the defender who'd been moved forward in a desperate measure, but it wasn't to be, and the Dons pulled off a fabulous 2-1 win.
Missed by Bjornaby, playing in a left-back position, allowing Mike Marsh to push forward into midfield. Good dummy by Barnes. Redknapp, Mark Walters in lots of space on the right if he can find him. Good ball by Redknapp. Walters, low cross, chance here for Hutchison, and a full stretch. Couldn't direct it on target. Clark. The game warming up. Good turn by Cotterill, past his man. Steve Cotterill brought down. The referee has pointed to the penalty spots. David James has hardly touched the ball so far. He's been a virtual spectator. But now on 36 minutes, a golden chance for John Fashanu to give the Dons the lead. He has. Wimbledon 1, Liverpool 0. And a cool as penalty, as you'll see. As the Dons continue to squander chances. Chance here now for Cotterill. He's done it, 2-0. He didn't squander that one. Steve Cotterill involved in the incident for the penalty. Scorer of the second, his third of the season, as he stakes a claim for a regular first-team place. Steve Cotterill making...
A hustling display at Villa Park secured another cup replay. Villa's Dwight York missed a great chance in the very first minute, and then just 2 minutes later he was on hand to open the scoring after Ray Houghton's cross. Late on in the game, fullback Gary Elkins made sure of a return match at Selhurst Park when his free kick crept in off the post and keeper Nigel. The sixth and definitely last meeting of the season with Everton saw the Toffeemen gain revenge for their cup defeat with a comfortable league victory at Selhurst Park. In front of just 3,039 people, an all-time league low, Tony Cottee gave the visitors the lead early on. And then another mistake by Dean Blackwell let in Cottee for the second. Ian Snowden made sure of all 3 points for the visitors when he fired home. And then still in the first half, John Fashanu looped home a consolation goal for the Dons. But a night to forget, and both teams were glad to see the last of each other for one campaign.
Here's Holdsworth in the box. Oh, good finish by Dean Holdsworth. And what a good striker this young man is turning out to be. What a buy from Brentford. It's Coventry City 0, Wimbledon 1, and Dean Holdsworth opens the scoring. It's a good run inside the penalty area. The Sky Blues penalty area. Nicky Quinn again trying to get involved with Robbie Earle. Wimbledon can break. That's a good looking ball through. Is that Ardley with a touch? Here's Andy Clark inside the area. Andy Clark will finish. And Andy Clark gets the goal he deserves. He's had one disallowed. Now he has one that counts. Coventry 0.
In the FA Cup fourth round replay at a foggy Selhurst Park, Aston Villa and Wimbledon were deadlocked at 0-0 after 120 minutes, so it came down to penalties. The score was 5 apiece when Villa skipper Kevin Richardson blazed over the bar to give the Dons a famous victory. Wimbledon through to round 5 of the FA Cup. Jubilant scenes among the Dons fans. Premier League opposition awaiting them. A trip to Spurs in the next round, but a happy night for Wimbledon at Selhurst. The return to league action 3 days later brought champions Leeds United to Selhurst Park. The Yorkshiremen looked shadows of their former selves, and Howard Wilkinson admitted that relegation was a genuine fear after this defeat. Neil Ardley headed against the post in the first half, and then, just after an hour, John Scales' header from Ardley's corner wasn't cleared properly, and there was Dean Holdsworth again to crash home from close range for a typical striker's goal.
And a corner kick to Wimbledon. It's Dean Holdsworth, it was, who had the shot that was deflected wide. Corner swung in now. Oh, with the header, Seaman, great save. Holdsworth will score. Winterburn tried to handle it on the line, but Dean Holdsworth scrambles it over, and the Dons have... Weaving and trying to find Ian Wright, who didn't know much about that. Now that's a back pass, and that's going to be a free kick to Arsenal, and it is, as Ian Wright was causing trouble inside the Dons penalty area, and that was certainly a back pass. Now this is an almost comical situation, no more than 7 yards out. Ian Wright will maybe have a pop, or it could be lofted into the top right-hand corner. 9 on the line, and it hits the wall on that line. Brilliant defending, really.
The Dons' dreams of a trip to the Twin Towers vanished in a 4-minute spell in the fifth round tie at White Hart Lane. After Darren Anderton had finished off Nick Barmby's flick on to Neil Ruddock's cross, Spurs wrapped things up just before the break. Robbie Earle's mistake from a corner let in Teddy Sheringham for a far post header, and 2 minutes later, Anderton's byline cross was headed home by Nicky Barmby. Gerald Dobbs' sweet lob over Eric Torsted gave the Dons some hope in the second half, but when substitute Steve Cotterill bundled the ball home in injury time, it only improved the look of the scoreline. A below-par performance which allowed everyone to refocus on league survival.
That's wind carrying that away from Fashanu. Very, very strong swirling wind out there. Elkins chipping forward. Good run off the ball by Gerald Dobbs. Fashanu trying a shot, and it's gone in. John Fashanu. John Fashanu's 5th goal of the season, and what a spectacular one it was. Keeper Kelly out of position. Wimbledon forward in numbers as we approach the half-time break. Bobbing around awkwardly, chance on Ilani, tremendous save by Kelly. Still there, it's gone in. Gerald Dobbs claiming the credit. Wimbledon 2, Sheffield United.
Another relegation battle at Selhurst followed, and it was Southampton who edged closer to safety at the Dons' expense. Dean Holdsworth lobbed Wimbledon ahead after referee Alan Gunn to decide he was offside. The Saints grabbed the lifeline with a Matthew Le Tissier snapshot tying things up, thanks to a deflection, and later on Le Tissier's cross was headed home by Kevin Moore, the Southampton's winner. Robbie Earle was denied a late equaliser by Tim Flower's block, and Joe Kinnear was left feeling that once again the Dons had been up against 12 men.
Played short by Ardley. Awkward one for the keeper. Ardley calls. Chips it back in. Chance here for Robbie Earle. Has it gone over the line? It's given. And Robbie Earle has made it Wimbledon 1. Middlesbrough 0. I'm not sure who's taking the credit for it. The referee. Forward by McAllister. Holdsworth on the end of it. Chance for Holdsworth. He's done it. 2-0, Dean Holdsworth. He atones for his earlier miss. That's his 10th of the season, and a typical goal scorer's goal. Nipped in behind the back of the Borough defence. They were caught sleeping.
The fine run of form continued at Loftus Road in the next game, despite the lads falling behind after just 3 minutes. Rangers' Andy Simpson pulled back the cross, and an easy finish there for England striker Les Ferdinand. Wimbledon equalised just 4 minutes later when John Fashanu was on hand to bundle home. Alan McDonald, the Rangers defender, also looked to get a touch on that, but Fashanu claimed the credit. 12 minutes from time, Neil Ardley's long ball into the penalty area was headed home by Robbie Earle over the head of Rangers keeper Jan Stejskal. An impressive win for the Dons, only Robbie's 5th goal of the campaign, but reward indeed for another impressive performance by the ever-present. The lingering doubts that Wimbledon fans may have had were completely banished by a stunning Dons display in the sunshine against the high-flying Canaries from Norwich. Norwich still challenging for the Premier League title themselves.
Fashanu. End-to-end stuff in his early stages, and John Fashanu sprinting through. Chris Sutton covering for Holdsworth. That's a superb goal. The Fashanu-Holdsworth combination paying off in spectacular style, and Wimbledon. Forward to Fox. Fox behind his man. Trouble here for Wimbledon. Aims for that far post. And the referee going to rescue a Norwich City player. Scales, good flick on, chance here for Ardley, it's gone in. 2-0. And it pays off again for the Dons. Neil Ardley on the spots. Can't get it away. Vinnie Jones out to Neil Ardley. Jones playing like a man inspired. Finds its way through to Holdsworth, hits it in, that's number 3 for the Dons. And a just third for Wimbledon. They put Norwich under non-stop pressure. A third goal had to come, and it's taken in clinical style.
A hard-fought contest at Hillsborough against Sheffield Wednesday saw Brian McAllister go into the referee's book, as did defender Gary Elkins. Wimbledon had their chances to take the lead. A long free kick from Brian McAllister. Headed into the box by Vinnie Jones. A nice turn by Dean Holdsworth, drawing a fine one-handed save from England keeper Chris Woods. Then 15 minutes from time, Mark Bright was found on the edge of the 6-yard box to fire Wednesday into the lead. After that, a fracas between John Fashanu and Viv Anderson left Fashanu prostrate and having to be stretchered off the park. The referee then indicated that he had in fact sent Fashanu off when he wouldn't allow Wimbledon to bring on a substitute to replace him. But that didn't stop the Dons. In the final moments of the game, they got the equaliser. It was another Dean Holdsworth effort from close range, securing another precious point for Wimbledon with just seconds.
South London derby. Simon Roger takes it. Sager's got some sort of punch onto it. It's knocked back goalwards. And a right old melee in there, and eventually Hans Sagers manages to grab hold of it. I think he may have taken a foot as well from Chris Coleman. Clark. Still Holdsworth. Dean Holdsworth just won't let the ball go, and a great cross as well to Ardley. Ardley, though, it just skipped away from him. He'll pull it back inside for Robbie Earl! And Wimbledon take the lead. And it's Robbie Earl who gets the goal. And a great build-up as well. Dean Holdsworth is there. Robbie Earl. Gerald Dobbs will chase this, so too Simon Roger. And the cross came in from Sanchez towards Earl again, and Nigel Martin has lost it, and it's been hooked in, and Wimbledon have a second goal, a scramble in the box, and Nigel Martin lost the ball, and Dean Holdsworth celebrates, and it's all going terribly wrong for Crystal Palace, but it's all going brilliantly right for Wimbledon.
That's a typical Wimbledon goal.
Into the box there, it's laid back for Paul Williams and blocked away by Fitzgerald. Now here goes Andy Clark, and Crystal Palace could be caught here. Clark, I think he wants to do this by himself. He's got support from Holdsworth. He finds Dean Holdsworth. This must be three, and it is Dean Holdsworth yet again. Surely finishes off Crystal Palace. A simple move. Clark, the creator. Holdsworth once more, the lethal finisher.
It was a great finish.
Now Gerald Dobbs, this time getting the cross in, and the header there, and it's another one for Wimbledon, 4-0, and this really is turning into a romp, and I think it's Robbie Earl in there once again, who's taking the celebrations.
Ian, I don't understand it. I mean, give Robbie Earl 10 out of 10. I mean, his header's a super header. To throw in. Turns nicely there, Dobbs, into the middle of the goal. Who's there free? Robbie Earl sticks it away.
Brian Clough's relegation threatened Nottingham Forest were the next visitors to Selhurst Park, complete with 3,000 travelling fans. The Dons almost took the lead early on when Laurie Sanchez, blistering 25-yard effort, drew a fine save from Forest keeper Andrew Marriott. Wimbledon finally took the lead after 32 minutes. Sager's long clearance was flicked on by Dean Holdsworth, and his boss's son Nigel Clough struck the table. The Dons had conceded 10 goals in their last two away games at Oldham and Chelsea, but they stopped the rot when they travelled to Main Road. City had the early pressure. Peter Reid, long ball wide to Andy Hill down the right. Cross coming in, a fine header from Mike Sheron, drawing a superb save from Hans Sagers. Later on, Fitzroy Simpson's curling free kick was tipped away by the acrobatic Dutchman. 5 minutes into the second half, Wimbledon took the lead. A goalmouth scramble released Robbie Earl, whose cross into the danger area led to Paul Miller heading home. City equalised late on when substitute Rick Holden grabbed the free equaliser. He seemed to stumble as he tried to make contact, but still got enough on the ball to tap it past Hans Sagers. That made it 1-1. Joe Kinnear had the rare luxury of a full-strength squad to choose from when the Dons travelled to White Hart Lane for their penultimate league encounter. The first half was a tame affair before Tottenham took the lead thanks to Hans Sagers' mistake, which enabled Darren Anderson to finish after a 50-yard run. In the second half, Brian McAllister received a red card, but the Dons responded to losing a man in typical fashion, with Robbie Earl's header just eluding keeper Ian Walker and going in off the post. Robbie's 8th of the season secured the Dons' second 1-1 draw of the campaign with their North London rivals. The Dons' final game of the season saw Selhurst Park play host to a Manchester United party as the newly crowned champions celebrated their first title in 26 years. Ryan Giggs' corner was headed out by Brian McAllister, but only as far as Paul Ince, whose shot from the edge of the area took a slight deflection on its way past Hans Sagers. 7 minutes later, Brian Robson fittingly notched his first Premier League goal, calmly slotting the ball home after Steve Bruce's long free kick. Dean Holdsworth underlined what a superb signing he'd been for Wimbledon when he pulled one back with a header to register his 19th goal of the season. But the season finished with an appropriate victory.